Welcome everyone to another story pulled from the depths. Tonight I want to tell you about Anthony, a man whose wasted life ended in tragedy. Pay attention, you may find similarities with your own. Jonathan was a young adventurer in his glory years. He trained in the best gyms, attended competitions, and engaged in extreme sports. He led a spectacularly active life and enjoyed solitude, finding peace and connection with the world. He spent his weekends camping alone in the woods. An old soul in a young body. But as with everything in life, there's an end. Over time, Jonathan began to suffer betrayals from his closest friends. He became more isolated and abandoned the things he loved. Monotony and work engulfed him, leading to a life of disconnection and stress. Before he knew it, Jonathan found himself buried in debt and family problems, with everyone having an opinion about him. It was during his darkest moment that he met Katie, the woman who would change his life and give him hope, at least for a few years. Like in any relationship's early stages, everything was physical and emotional. Before they were ready, their first child arrived, bringing along a multitude of problems. For Jonathan, the baby became the reason for his existence, his princess. He started working tirelessly 7 days a week, helping with household chores when at home and trying to find time to take his family out. He devoted himself completely to them every day. However, for Katie, the baby meant weight gain and the loss of her figure. She could no longer go out partying like before. For Katie, Jonathan and their daughter became the primary cause of her problems. She longed for her previous life, despised being at home, and hated even more having to be a mother or a wife. As many know, in the modern era, attending to your husband or children is considered a sign of machismo, and with the pretext of feminism, the problems are exacerbated. As the years went by, the issues between Katie and Jonathan worsened to the point of physical aggression from her and verbal abuse from both sides. Jonathan started working longer hours because the money was never enough. He barely slept, and when he came home, he was greeted with constant complaints from Katie, which were always the same. After enduring this situation for several months, Jonathan began to consider suicide as the best option. He didn't want to abandon his daughter, but he knew that if he stayed, the girl would grow up being conditioned against him by her mother. Months turned into years, and that baby became a beautiful girl who simply saw her father as an ATM. Thanks to her mother's overbearing upbringing, she grew up believing that the world belonged to her, and that everything good should come her way just because. One morning, as Jonathan was on his way to work, he stopped at the beach and, gazing at the sunrise, he simply surrendered himself to the water, never to resurface again, thus ending his life. Katie and their daughter barely noticed Jonathan's absence until the third day when they were called to collect a bill he was supposed to pay earlier. Jonathan's body was found by the authorities and taken to the morgue, where, due to its state of decomposition, it had to be cremated. His wallet was handed to Katie, who only took out the credit cards and threw away the rest. It didn't take long for Katie to be with other men, and her daughter was already following in her mother's footsteps. Jonathan's soul could never find peace. He condemned himself to an eternity of witnessing how the greatest treasure of his life gradually crumbled due to his absence. Jonathan's closest friend made a small tombstone on the beach to remember him, and claims that every morning, if you wait long enough, you can see Jonathan sitting on that beach, enjoying those fleeting seconds of sunrise, the only moments of peace he could attain. Jonathan is one of the many souls that can no longer change what they did in life. Often we choose the easy path, but let me tell you, death is never easy. If you enjoyed this story, please share it and subscribe for much more.